Most people think working with herbs means one thing, making a simple cup of tea. And while that's a great place to start, it's only a small part of the picture. Because in traditional herbal practice, there isn't just one way to prepare herbs. There are many, each one with a specific purpose, a different strength, and a different way of working with the body. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 8 essential herbal preparations everyone should know. Not in a complicated way, but in a way that actually helps you understand when and why you would use each one. Because once you understand this, everything else starts to make a lot more sense. Let's start with one most people already know, herbal teas, also called infusions. They're one of the easiest and most accessible ways to begin working with herbs. And at its core, it's pretty simple. You take dried or fresh herbs, pour boiling water over them, cover it, let it sit. And here's where most people don't realize a true medicinal infusion is not the same as a light, refreshing, or relaxing tea. It has more herb, longer steep time, and therefore a stronger concentration. Because the goal isn't just taste, it's extracting its medicinal goodness. This method works best for leaves, flowers, and softer plant parts, things that yield and release their properties fairly easily into water. One of the biggest advantages? It's gentle, it's hydrating, and it's pretty easy to take. Especially useful for children or for when someone doesn't want to take capsules or stronger preparations. Now let's take it a step further. Some plants are tougher. Some plant parts take longer to yield over their medicinal goodness. Roots, bark, seeds. These don't give up their properties easily, and this is where decoctions come in. Instead of just pouring hot water over the herb, you simmer this herb slowly over time. Low heat, longer duration, and this breaks down dense plant material and pulls out the deeper compounds. The result? A much stronger and more concentrated preparation than a standard tea. It is not always the best tasting, I will warn you, but it is powerful. Decoctions can also form the base for subsequent preparations, like syrups. Now, this is where things get interesting because sometimes a strong decoction is exactly what you need, but it's too bitter, too harsh, or too unpleasant for people to actually take, especially particular people. That's where syrups come in. A syrup starts with your decoction, but then you combine it with a sweetener, usually honey, in about a 1-to-1 ratio. This does two important things. First is that it makes the preparation far more palatable, and that's important for persnickety subjects. It also helps preserve your preparation. A properly made herbal syrup can last several weeks in the refrigerator. And this is especially useful for children, for the elderly, or anyone who really struggles with strong herbal flavors. It also allows you to deliver a concentrated preparation in a way that people will actually use. Now compare that to a tincture. A tincture uses alcohol or glycerin instead of honey, and is typically more potent and longer lasting, which brings us to the next one. Tinctures or alcohol vinegar extracts are one of the most efficient and shelf-stable ways to work with herbs. Instead of water, you'll use alcohol or glycerin, sometimes vinegar, as the solvent. The herb is soaked over time, allowing the liquid to extract and preserve its compounds. The result is a preparation that is highly concentrated, rapidly absorbing, and can last, if stored properly, for years. Because of their strength, however, tinctures are usually taken in small amounts, drops rather than cups. And they're especially useful for when you need something long-lasting, portable, fast-acting, and easy to use consistently. Now let's shift from internal to external usage. How about a poultice? A poultice is one of the simplest and most practical methods you can use. You can take fresh plant material, crush it, bruise it, and apply it directly to the skin. That's pretty much it. No complicated tools, no special equipment. This is as field-ready and low maintenance as it gets. Traditionally, poultices were used for wounds, splinters, skin irritations, and also stings and insect bites. Because instead of working through digestion, you're actually applying the plant part directly where it's needed. Now, a fomentation is similar, but it uses heat and liquid. So instead of crushing the plant material and applying it directly, you take a hot herbal tea or a decoction usually, soak it in a cloth, and then apply that moist cloth to the body. This delivers moist heat, It supports circulation and it also provides for deeper penetration of the herbal preparation into the specific targeted tissues. And it's especially useful for congestion, inflammation, and areas that are really difficult to reach internally. Historically, this was a go-to method in homes long before modern conveniences. Another simple and effective method is using the whole plant in a powdered form. The herb is dried, ground finely, and either taken directly or put into capsules. And this is one of the easiest ways to consume the entire plant, not just what the water extracts, but everything. It's convenient, portable, flexible. You can take it as a capsule, you can mix it into water and make it a tea, or you can add it to food as needed, like to, for instance, applesauce. For people who don't want to drink teas, this is often a very practical option. And finally, we have the herbal baths, one of the most overlooked methods. Instead of taking herbs internally, you can actually use the skin as the delivery system. You add the herbs or an herbal preparation such as a strong tea or decoction into the bath water. And as you soak, the body absorbs those compounds through the skin. This method is gentle, non-invasive, and especially useful for full body support. It is incredibly helpful for children, particularly small children who can't tolerate oral preparations and for whom you desire very gentle herbal action, or situations where you, for instance, want a more relaxed approach. It's also a great way to target the skin specifically for support. In cases of rashes, who here remembers having chicken pox when you were young and being put in the bathtub with oatmeal? Friends, if you experience that, then your mother put you in an herbal bath. Bringing it all together now. So when you step back and look at this, you start to realize something important. Herbalism isn't just about which herb you use. It's about how you choose to prepare it, the method you choose to deliver it, and when you utilize each one. Because a tea, a tincture, a poultice, they're not interchangeable. They each have a role, a specific targeting system. And once you understand that, you stop thinking in terms of what herb should I take? And you start thinking, what can I do with what I have? And that's a very different mindset because this is really where herbalism begins, not with memorizing hundreds of plants per se, but with learning how to work with a few of them well. Learning how to make something simple and make it effective, useful. Learning how to turn a handful of leaves into something that actually serves you and your family. And that matters more than most people realize, because there may come a time, friends, when convenience isn't there. Where the store is closed, shipments don't arrive, the just-in-time inventory system breaks, or the system you're used to relying upon isn't available as it once was. And in those moments, what you know and what you can do with your own hands matters. This is part of becoming more self-sufficient. Not extreme, not complicated, just capable. And the good news is you don't have to learn it all at once. You can start small. One method, one plant, one skill at a time. If you're looking to start applying this practically, we do carry a variety of herbs and preparations on the website, thepatriotnurse.com. But more importantly, start paying attention. Look at the plants around you that grow naturally in your environment. Start practicing. Start building that skill set now, while it's easiest to do so. If this gave you some clearer perspective, share it with someone who needs it. Because a lot of this knowledge, friends, has been pushed aside, or forgotten, or suppressed. And sometimes it just takes one person to start bringing it back. And if you're here to learn this the right way, make sure that you're subscribed and make sure you click that bell button too so you don't miss a new video. I'm not going to spam you. I'm only going to give you the good stuff as I've got it. We'll continue breaking this down, friends, method by method, principle by principle, so you can actually understand these things and learn to use them as tools in real life. May the Lord bless and keep you all. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.